you, Disney ain't making it easy to cover their shows. They don't give us all the episodes, so it's very hard for us to judge the show. It's impossible for us to judge the show in its entirety. You saw what happened with The Acolyte. I loved what I saw, and then I saw the rest of it. I mean, The Acolyte was good through episode 5, and then it was not good, and then it took a nosedive off a cliff. And that was unfortunate. And, I felt, I think, those of us who had defended the show felt burned. So I want to be really clear. And then also, of course, so I want to be really clear that I've only seen 4 out of 9 episodes, and I can only speak on the first 4 episodes. And after that, we'll all see what happens together. The other thing is that now the review embargo lifts when the show drops. And part of me felt, should I even do a review? Because, people are going to be wanting to move on to the breakdown already. But then, I did that once before, and some of you pointed out that you're like, whoa, what about for those of us who don't know if we want to even start the show to get to the breakdown? And I was like, fair point. So I'm doing the review anyway. And so Agatha All Along, the first 2 episodes are up right now. And I hope that you'll go check them out right after this review if you haven't started them already. Because I think at least the first 4 episodes are really good. All right, so get in, witches. We're going on the road. So yeah, Click, Coven, Coffee Clatch. Popular entertainment has long depicted groups of women, but rarely in a positive manner. So it's quite refreshing to see a group of women and their male gay friend, I love Joe Locke, not just in such a positive light, but in a complex, interesting one. Earlier this year, I praised it's been a rough year. Can you believe it? Get ready to talking about walking down a road. Here's memory lane. I praised the latest season of True Detective at the beginning of the year for portraying 2 female leads who were people first and women second. And I like that we'll talk about some of the toxicity in a moment, but I like that the women in Agatha All Along are just as complex and real. However, in Agatha All Along, the female characters are also rich in feminine energy, echoing iconic witch movies like Practical Magic, The Craft, and The Witches of Eastwick. No hocus pocus here. Some of you have been like, is it like Hocus Pocus, Grace? Hocus Pocus is a family film, like a full-on family film. And this is, I think, a somewhat pretty adult show. I think a lot of the adult subjects are not overt, but they're there. They're very much there. And I think that people, even if they don't realize it, will pick up on it. So I would argue that this is for high school and up. So that's what I would say is age appropriate for Agatha All Along. But the feminine energy here is different than in those movies I just listed for the most part. Because at least in the 4 episodes that I saw out of 9, none of these witches are interested in men. I'm not sure about Patti LuPone's character. She didn't have any love interests, but otherwise it's made very clear that the rest of the coven is LGBTQ. So you have to wonder, is this going to be True Detective meets The Acolyte? 2 female-centric shows that were very friendly to the LGBTQ community that were torn apart by right-wing commentators. I sure hope that doesn't happen again. Third time's the charm. I think that True Detective, again, I haven't seen all of Agatha All Along. I think True Detective fell apart a little bit in the middle. And I thought that the reveal was a little bit weak, but I still liked the show. I liked elements of it. And I would say the same for The Acolyte. I really liked the beginning, and then I thought it was horrible. But, those shows both have asterisks next to them in terms of my praise. So far, I wouldn't put an asterisk next to Agatha. But again, we got more than, I'm less than halfway through the show. True Detective, I don't feel deserved the hate. I think that the show, again, I thought it wasn't perfect, but I didn't think it deserved to be attacked. The Acolyte, as I said, it got pretty freaking awful at the end. But I thought what happened, I still think that it was unfair and too aggressive, but I don't want to go back down that rabbit hole. That was one of the worst experiences I've ever had covering entertainment. It was that bad. So I will say that Agatha All Along is not championing any causes. It doesn't wear its causes on its sleeve. In fact, Agatha even makes one funny joke during the first 4 episodes that she doesn't want anyone around who discusses politics. It's funny. It's funny in context. And I thought that was great. And again, I think that the comment, it has a lot to say, but it's done in a very subtle way. Like it's there if you were looking. I mean, no, a lot of things like snuck up on me in the second time when I was watching it for my breakdown. I was like, oh, I get that. I didn't see that at first. And I think it's really well done. But I mean, WandaVision had a lot of messaging and nobody seemed to have a problem with that. So I hope it'll be okay. These women just are. Scratch that. They're just trying to be. This is beautiful. All right. So they lived through the Salem witch trials and perhaps even some of them the Spanish Inquisition and more. They have been beaten down for centuries, persecuted. Their wounds have never healed, and they have never seen the world get any better. That's not only compelling, but I think it's extremely relatable to Agatha All Along's target audience. Who is Agatha All Along's target audience? Well, clearly, it's Wanda Stans. Myself included, I'm a big Wanda Stan. And while we've been all very worried about when is Wanda going to return, you'll be happy to know that, again, at least in the first 4 episodes, she casts a heavy shadow over this spin-off series as the Witches Corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe expands exponentially, suddenly. I think it's great. It's interesting to me that a big issue with the Acolyte is that it didn't appeal to established Star Wars fans, but there weren't enough new Star Wars fans to support it on their own. Now, Wanda has assembled what seems assembled. Like, that's one more Marvel reference than this entire show has outside of WandaVision. All right, so anyway, she has assembled what seems to be a legion of fans, right? I mean, I think many of us feel that she is what powered Multiverse of Madness to almost $1 billion. But, and again, this is where it gets very interesting, because Wanda has never been a big character in the comics. I mean, sure, she's made big moves, but she's always been an agent of chaos in other characters' stories. She's never really had her own stories, certainly not ones that got a lot of traction. And so almost all of Wanda fans are not comic book fans, which at the end of the day might be what saves her corner of the MCU. And your time has come, Wanda Stans. Can you support a corner of the MCU? We're about to find out. Because as I said, there's very little Avengers lore here. In the first 4 episodes, not a single Avenger is mentioned, nor any MCU events outside of WandaVision. But we are very much in the world of WandaVision, which many years later, it becomes clear has created so much of its own mythology that it's fully capable of supporting its own spin-off show all by itself. That's incredible to me. Like, if you liked WandaVision, you will like this show. That, and also it's a spotlight on the actual history of witches and witchcraft in the world, both real and fictional, that the show and the end credit sequence do a fantastic job highlighting. Really, really nice. I've not done like deep research on witches, but I know some stuff, and I really was impressed, and I thought it was fun with what they did here. Like WandaVision, there are Easter eggs everywhere and lots of mysteries. Get ready to think up fan theories. It's still so much fun. That's what's great about this show. It allows you to engage with it and to have fun with it, just like WandaVision did. Jack Schaefer, it turns out, is a very good tease, and I'm beginning to feel that the Witches Corner of the MCU is in excellent hands with her. If that Wanda movie does move ahead, I'm so happy to hear that, or at least what's Marvel's saying for now, that she will be the one that continues to be the creative lead. She's to the Wanda corner of the MCU, like what Ryan Coogler is to the Wakanda corner. So I guess we'll call it the Westview corner, right? Both with a W, interestingly. All right, I have to say, considering that witchcraft is a form of paganism, that did occur to me while I was watching it, I'm surprised how appealing the show makes it seem. They're like, hey, you want to join a coven? And I'm like, now I'm not sure. Maybe I do. Just like for fun. But I think that's pretty crazy. I hope that's not a problem for this show. I mean, come on, if you celebrate Halloween, you can't have a problem with this show. And America loves Halloween. But, as we've discussed with Beetlejuice, maybe some other corners of the world, not so much. And there's there's that toxic struggle everywhere. All right. Now I'm even nervous about that. All right. So the thing about Covens here is not only the positive portrayal of women fighting for themselves and each other, but because of the wonderful personalities at play here. I was pretty vocal about not wanting to add more witches to the MCU because I thought it would dilute the Scarlet Witch. But these witches, now that I've met them, bring them on. In fact, these ladies are so compelling, I'm getting a little nervous about Elizabeth Olsen's ability to compete with them. In WandaVision, and especially egregiously in Multiverse of Madness, Wanda was portrayed as a victim, someone reacting to things that had been done to her by others. often out of control and often not knowing, not even realizing what she was doing. But here, there is just so much agency, it's exciting. That it's like the opposite of that. If you thought Kathryn Hahn was good in WandaVision, get ready to be blown away, because this is the performance of her career. She's funny, sexy, and has tons of attitude. She is a proper Disney villain. They're gonna have fun with her. Her character has already appeared in the parks, but now they can do a whole show. But even sexier is Aubrey Plaza as Rio Vidal. I have never seen Plaza look as good as she does here. I mean, wow. And the chemistry between her and Hahn could be cut with a knife. It's incredible. Whereas Olsen's Wanda has a softness to her, right? But these two women, in contrast, have edge. Although that's not to say that they don't have their vulnerable moments. Olsen's Wanda is going to have to evolve if she wants to be able to compete with Hahn's Agatha and Plaza's Rio. I think that she would have a very hard time competing for screen time and attention with them, because they're just so extra. I mean, they're amazing. The other main character is Joe Locke's teen. And that moniker is actually quite funny when you see how it comes about and how it's used. I think that actually turned out to be a great idea. Locke is even better than I'd hoped that he would be. I was just kind of smiling when I watched him when he first appeared. I was like, he's doing it. He's great. He's so good. He's everything I wanted and more. And I'm 99% sure that he's playing Wanda's son Billy. The clues are all there. They've been there on camera and off. However, this show is having such a good time and it's such a good tease and such a good mystery that in a fun way, I'm like, is he? Maybe? I'm not sure. Oh, it's fun. But again, in a fun way. I don't think they're going to Ralph Boner him. I think Jack Schaefer learned her lesson. His American accent is excellent. For those of you not familiar with Joe Locke, he's actually from the UK, and his breakout role was on Netflix's Heartstopper. As for the other witches, I'm impressed with how seriously Patti LuPone is taking her role here. And Sashir Zamata has some excellent scenes in the first 4 episodes that I saw. And thanks to everyone who recommended that I read the James Robinson run of Scarlet Witch comics. Not amazing, but pretty good, and clearly an influence here. But best of all, Ollie On's witch is from that run. As soon as I saw her, I was like, Leonardo DiCaprio meme! I love that character in the comic when I saw her. She was one of my favorite parts of James Robinson's run. This version is a little different, but I'm interested to see where things go because, again, I like the character so much in the comic. As for LGBTQ representation, as I said, there's a definite chemistry between Hahn and Plaza. They're definitely ex-lovers, and with a lot of heat and passion left between them. And it's also made extremely clear that Locke's teen is gay. However, it's never discussed or debated. Again, these characters simply are. Now, the LGBTQ community themselves will be the ultimate judge of whether or not they are happy with this representation. But to me, as a straight ally, it seems to be the most organic and therefore most successful representation that Marvel has had to date. Disney as well. I'm very impressed with how this was handled. This show, you know what it reminds me of? It actually reminds me of Good Omens in terms of both LGBTQ representation, but also characters that are hundreds of years old, giving historical and otherworldly context to modern life. Good Omens, working off the Bible, and Agatha All Along, the history of witches, and I think to some degree also women. It is worth noting that in contrast, Wanda is not LGBTQ, interestingly enough. But then again, she is a woman in love with a sex toy. I think you could make that argument. And one, if not all of the ladies in this coven would, which I think would be hilarious. But yes, Vision is not a real boy. So even Wanda has her kinks. I think this show is very compelling and very well done and very witchy. If you like witch movies and the history of witches, you will enjoy Agatha All Along very much so. It's coming out at the perfect time of year as well, airing right up to All Hallows Eve. And the episodes feel really long in a good way. They're all about 35 minutes of actual story when you take out the previously on and the end credit scene. End credit sequences there's no actually end credit scenes. I'm talking about the end credits. At least not in the first 4 episodes. But, on streaming shows, the end credits are a good 5 to 6 minutes. It's a lot because they have to list all the dubbing as well. But, oh, by the way, I watched the end credit sequence every single time for every episode. I just thought it was incredible. I just couldn't get enough of it. But the episodes, to me, again, felt like they ran 45 minutes. I felt like I was getting 45 minutes worth of material with each one because I got so much story, action, and character development each time. And that song, The Witch's Road, when I saw them singing about it at D23, I didn't even watch the video. I was like, That looks so stupid, you should all be embarrassed. But now that I've actually seen it in the context of the show, I kind of like that song, especially when you learn the importance of the song. I think it's going to become a big Halloween song, especially on Disney mixes. They got to add new stuff all the time. They got the Nightmare Before Christmas on there. Now they're going to be able to add this song as well. It's great. It's a great, fun song, just like they have Agatha All Along. I also like because the song is also very important to the story, as you'll learn. Now, this is written by Krista Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez of Frozen fame, and they also wrote Agatha All Along, but I think this is much even better. I think this song not only is, I just think it has more to say. I think it has more depth. I think it seems like it's just more atmospheric. Agatha All Along was more of like a good joke. This is a legit song. And also it's a harmony because it needs to be sung by the entire coven together. Get it? Nice touch as well. That's another great thing about this show. It has not only bold strokes, but nice, delicate details. Now, Agatha All Along, as I said, is not very MCU. Not at all, really, literally. But it is very MCU in spirit, in terms of, having a rich history and drawing on other things. I think that's a part of the MCU that we all miss very much. And in some ways, WandaVision was when it had actually peaked. And it's nice to see that Jack Schaefer and her team were able to bring it back. I hope everyone will at least try it. And if it isn't for you, I hope you'll let the rest of us enjoy it as we walk the witch's road and uncover these many, many mysteries. So that's my non-spoiler review of Agatha All Along. My breakdown of episodes 1 and 2 will be up later tonight after those episodes finish airing. So be sure to come back so we can discuss them in depth. Oh, I have so much to talk to you about. There's so much going on in them and so many layers. For now, though, share your overall hopes and thoughts for Agatha All Along. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.